OriginClear is transforming the water industry with revolutionary water treatment technology and innovative financing. With me is Executive Vice President Ken Berenger to explain the company. And recently, the water industry achieved a status of unicorn. There have been some companies in this industry who have been unicorns, which is a private company worth $1 billion. So tell me about that, and what does that mean for the whole industry?
Hi, Jane. Thanks for having me back.
Great to have you.
Hello. Yeah, it's very validating. I've only been screaming about this for 5 years. Welcome to the party. Where you been? In actuality, that unicorn was created through private venture capital. So the difference is, I think the street's waking up to the fact that this is a massive underserved business, and it's nothing more enduring. Technology can change day to day, but water is enduring. It will, it's not going to go out of style, I suspect, anytime soon. It was incubated by venture capital. There was no individual investor access. So if you and I said, look, I love this idea, I want to be involved, we're boxed out. OriginClear, what we're doing is the exact opposite. We recognize that in a $1 trillion space, you're probably going to have more than one unicorn. This is a unicorn creating space. We want to develop the next one, hopefully, but focus exclusively on individual investors to provide kind of what I would call mainstream investors or accredited investors with the same access to the same opportunity and structured in a way that creates generational wealth.
Yeah. Now, and I did read that the world's first trillionaire will be from the water industry. So how will that happen? Is there a way that OriginClear can benefit from that?
Yes and yes. So again, I think every time I've spoken to you, I keep mentioning it's $1 trillion opportunity, and people are like, yeah, it's water. But really, I think the way to phrase this is this. Yes, it's been $1 trillion opportunity all along, and I believe that the quote came from Forbes' counsel. So you have to ask yourself, okay, a trillionaire can be created. That's going to be an early player for sure. I don't think you can be a late stage investor in something and create $1 trillion of wealth. But let's focus on the fact that it now is quoted by Forbes' counsel as it's going to have the ability to create $1 trillion plus of wealth. Now, that's either going to be one individual, but what's the real benefit to that? What we believe is by focusing on the individual investor, we believe that there's a lot more impact and a lot more benefit of having $1 trillion wealth creation opportunity, and maybe decentralized water, decentralize the opportunity, create maybe 1 million millionaires. We think that's a lot more impactful.
Yeah, so just $1 trillion industry, and I guess that's what we've talked about so many times. And you've said before, water is the people's asset. So it's obviously something we need to survive. I mean, what do you mean by that? How could that benefit viewers?
Right. So the other part of your question was, how do we benefit? Well, big money is finally pouring into water. We're seeing Forbes' counsel say there's going to be $1 trillionaire created from it. We see now the first of many unicorns being created. Here's what's interesting about that company that just created a unicorn. It's exclusively in private water infrastructure. Okay. This is entirely what we do. Now, they're developmental stage, but they're going to do, I've often said, if you're Anheuser-Busch, if you're Pepsi, if you're Big Pharma, you don't need decentralized water pay per gallon. What you can do is basically construct a $100 million system, hire engineers round the clock, and you're not really a polluter anyway. Big businesses aren't. It's the small businesses that don't have access to that. So they're doing they're now in the developmental stage, what we've been already successfully doing for years, and I think that will be the benefit because the world is waking up to what we've been kind of that lone voice in the wilderness for a while. Now the world is going, oh yeah, water, that's huge. Well, it's nice to be right even if you're a little late to the game, right? Now, to answer your question about people's assets, MLPs were an instrument that was created 40 years ago, and it kind of catered to creating generational wealth for the affluent, accredited investors. It's been magnificent at doing that. It's got tax benefits. It's got income that protects against inflation. That came along when big oil was already a century old, okay? Water, again, the people's asset. If you're going directly to venture capital firms, if you're going directly to hedge funds, it's not going to be the people's asset. It's going to be VC's asset. It's going to be hedge fund asset. We're focusing entirely on creating decentralized water systems. Each one will operate like an oil well for water, okay? And by focusing on individual investors, we believe we can deliver that wealth creation opportunity, and again, decentralize it among millions of individuals, create the same wealth creation opportunity, but in a way that we think is, well, I hate to use democratic, but it is. It's a little bit more decentralized than democratic.
Yeah, well, and it definitely is an industry that seems like it's in need of disruption. So
for sure. Here's what I think you're going to find now that it's being vocalized by someone outside of our kind of where we came from. Water is a highly technical business. It is very technologically advanced. I don't know if you know this, but there's an absolute land boom going on right now in the United States. So I have some wonderful video I'd like to share with you about a couple of our technology wins where we've gotten some installations. One of them is in Denison, Texas, just north of the Dallas area. But from Dallas up to the Oklahoma border, there's a corridor. There's an absolute land boom explosion. Thousands of manufacturers are going to be popping up, we think, over the course of the next 10 to 20, even 25 years. Now, manufacturers can't operate where there is no infrastructure. By doing what we do, by dropping these in like the Denison, Texas location, we can create a decentralized private water infrastructure system faster than they can even put up the building. You're going to see thousands of manufacturers come back from China, land in the United States, and by doing this, we can help facilitate an American manufacturing renaissance. And that's really exciting because not only because of the capital it creates, the jobs it creates, and of course the wealth.
Yeah.
And to be the focal point of that or to help facilitate that is really an exciting prospect.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting because these companies need water and they may have to wait for years.